About what?
No, what? I've never heard that sentence uttered.
The fundamentals.
Good evening. I'd like to call the Monday, March 10th regularly scheduled board meeting for Lorain City Schools to order. Please call the roll.
Mr. Ferguson.
Here.
Mrs. Washington.
Present?
Dr. Ballard.
Here.
Mrs. Nazario.
Here.
Mr. Sturgill.
Here.
Please.
Well, tonight, can I, just
Yep.
introduce?
Go
Yep.
ahead.
Well, tonight we have students from Tony Morrison Elementary here to help lead us in the pledge, and they'll also be talking with you about their Black History Wax Museum. So Mrs. Grugel is going to bring the students up, and Mrs. Grugel, you want to introduce them and then lead us in the pledge first?
Sure. So my name's Wendy Rubel. I'm the assistant principal at Tony Morrison. These are our second grade team of teachers. Okay, so Miss Henderson is coming back. And Mrs. Wright. We spent February celebrating Black History Month at Tony Morrison, and the second grade team did an amazing job. They did a living wax museum where they researched on their own influential Black Americans and then gave a presentation to the entire building. We have 5 students here today, one also in the bathroom, will be here in a second. They researched, did their own poster board, they are dressed as their characters, and then they will give you a little bit of information. They are going to introduce themselves as they walk forward after we do the pledge.
Before we do the pledge, I'd like everybody to stand for a moment of silence in recognition of Scott Rule's passing. 33-year teacher in Lorain City Schools, and you'll be greatly missed. Thank you.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so do you guys want to spread out in front? Go get your poster. Get your poster and then go out front. Go ahead. You have your poster now.
While they're getting situated, just very, very quickly, I just want to thank everybody for coming. I like to see a packed house at board meetings, and I've been asked a lot of questions over the last couple of days about staff members and board meetings. Please come. I know we've got a policy that speaks to, that applies to most districts. We are not most districts. The people at this table work very, very well together. If you want to talk to any one of us, please do.
Especially in a public forum.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Especially in a public forum.
My name is Riley Noble. My character is Ruby Bridges. My name is Ruby Bridges. I was supposed to go to an all-white school, and I was... Wait, hold on. You want to get your card up?
You're fine.
You're doing great.
My name is Felix Jackson. My character's name is Michael Jackson. My name is Michael Jackson. I was a member of the Jackson 5. I released my first album at 14 years old, and I won 13 Grammy Awards. My name is Gabrielle, and I'm Ruby Bridges. Ruby Bridges was the first black child to a second grade integrate at a Southern elementary school in 1960. Federal marshals escorted her to school. My real name is Kayla Lumpkin. My character name is Betsy Common. Betsy Common was the first African American to hold a pilot license. She performed in air shows across the United States. My name is Evangeline Rosales. My name is Rosa Parks. I refused to give up my seat to a white man on December 1st, 1955. I was awarded with the Presidential Medal of Freedom for my role in the Civil Rights Movement.
My name is Ruby Bridges. I was the first black child to attend an all-white school. I was given a Presidential Citizen Medal from Bill Clinton.
Smile bigly.
No, stay there, Rob. We'll get a picture second. Yeah. Oh, you're gonna do it. If the board and others can join us. Parents, come on up, get a picture taken.
I'm just gonna have to go to the back of George
Come on
Daniel
up.
to get everybody.
Families. Come on. You guys are awesome. Nice job. Great job. Right now, it's a board meeting, it's pretty boring, so if you want to make a run for it, we fully understand.
It's just like grad school, the teachers sit in the back.
Oh, you look like you're on and ready today,
I'm always armed.
Plenty of good seats up front now if you want to move up.
Front and center.
I don't see
Best
it.
seat in the house.
Little one persevered through and
Okay, recognition of visitors. First hearing of the public.
Good evening. Julie Garcia, President, Lorain Education Association, and I'm here to speak on behalf of our teachers regarding the proposed time change. Good evening, members of the school board, administration, and committee.
Actually, Julie, I'm going to cut you off, but I'm hearing the microphone's not working on.
You want me to use my teacher voice?
No, but it also captures it for TV.
TV.
So
Okay.
TV 20, so it's,
All right, let me move over.
thanks.
We are here tonight to strongly oppose the proposed time change and to demand answers regarding how this decision was made despite overwhelming opposition from teachers. First, we ask the administration to publicly share the teaching unions and community survey results. We anticipate the data will clearly reflect that educators do not support this change, yet it has still been proposed. We deserve to understand the rationale behind pushing forward a plan that those working directly with students have already deemed impractical and detrimental. Next, we have serious logistical concerns that have not been adequately addressed. Currently, elementary dismissal takes 30 minutes or more to safely and efficiently release students. How does the administration plan to condense this into just 15 minutes? More importantly, when teachers' contractual time ends at 3:15 p.m., who will be responsible for students who have not been picked up? These are real daily challenges that cannot be ignored. Additionally, we seek clear and specific clarification regarding the 45-minute planning time at the end of the day, which is currently designated for essential staff obligations such as C3 team meetings and staff meetings. If this planning time is eliminated under the new proposal, does that mean these meetings are also being eliminated? If not, when does the administration expect teachers to meet for these required obligations? Furthermore, if the expectation is for these meetings to occur during weekly planning times, we request an explanation for how the district justifies increasing instructional time while simultaneously eliminating dedicated planning time for C3 and staff meetings. Please provide the rationale and logistical plan for how these responsibilities will be accommodated without disrupting instructional effectiveness. The district cannot remove dedicated professional time without a clear and transparent plan for when and how these essential meetings will take place. Furthermore, we must address an issue that is far more urgent than instructional minutes: student behavior. The Lorain School District cannot and should not be compared to surrounding districts when making scheduling decisions. Our behavioral challenges far surpass those of neighboring districts, and yet we continue to see a lack of real consequences and behavioral support. Before increasing instructional time, administration must address the serious daily disruptions that are already cutting into instructional time. Increasing class time while simultaneously lowering behavioral expectations and failing to implement effective discipline measures is neither realistic nor beneficial for the students or staff who experience these challenges every day. Additionally, if the administration insists on making comparison to surrounding districts, then it must also acknowledge a critical difference. Those districts have lunch and recess monitors, allowing teachers to receive their contractual prep time during the school day. In Lorain, teachers and principals are responsible for supervising students during these periods, meaning our already limited planning time is further reduced. If this proposed time change is truly about maximizing instruction, then why are teachers being given fewer resources and less time to effectively plan for it? To truly understand the impact of these decisions, we strongly encourage administration to come into our classroom and observe the current circumstances firsthand. We welcome you to stay for an extended period of time because a quick 10 or 30-minute pop-in will not suffice. You need to witness the full reality of a school day and make informed, practical decisions that truly support students and teachers. We urge the school board to listen to the professionals who are in the classroom daily. We are not opposing change for the sake of opposition. We are advocating for solutions that make sense, prioritize student success, and ensure safe, productive learning environment. I also was asked to mention to you that moving the birthdays back on preschool and kindergarten students put them at 5 during the year. And this is, some students are not emotionally or physically, socially ready for tasks. Developmentally, they are not ready. To extend the day on top of this could really affect their performance, to stay focused. In preschool, we have students coming in that are 2 years old, turning 3. When making these decisions, we need to look at what's developmentally appropriate for our students. Another question was the survey taken, why was the survey taken about adding 15 minutes to the day, but the district took the liberty to add 30 minutes? When will regular ed teachers receive the news about these changes and what their workday is going to look like? Issues will be raised with dismissal because, again, the students are not picked up within 15 minutes. And at the end of their contractual times, teachers will leave.
Yes, they should.
One teacher so far has missed 20 of her planning times because there was no IEP meetings, there's no encore for them, and another teacher in the same building has missed 19 of their planning times. If teachers don't have time at the end of the day but are expected to stay, they should then be compensated. Thank you.
Briefly, we're done.
What's that?
Yeah.
Just very, very briefly. First of all, a decision has not been made. We're still learning. We try to give you, we try to be transparent, give you updates as we get them. As we continue to learn, we'll share more. But as of right now, and obviously, Julie, there's a lot of questions in there. Let's sit down and we'll get them all answered for you. Yeah, thanks.
Good evening. My name is Brittany Kurzak. I'm sure you remember me from our meeting, February 21st.
Mm-hmm.
My children go to Toni Morrison, and I am worried about the school times being extended because of the behavior issues. I mean, I've addressed it at our meeting. I was told that somebody would come in and sit in the classroom, observe. That was a one-time thing. Since then, there's been 2 other incidents, and that was just since February 21st. My daughter came home and told me an emergency button had to be pressed, and the cops never came because the child was chasing them around with scissors. If this is happening in one class, I'm sure it's happening in many. I don't send my kids to school to witness things like this. I send them to school to learn. Unfortunately, it's hard for the teachers to teach the kids because they're trying to protect the kids. This happened when a substitute was there. I don't even want to send my kids to school anymore. It's ridiculous. Things need to be put in place to help the teachers help the kids. And that's not what's happening. That's not what's happening at all. Because there's kids that are being left out who need extra help. There's nobody there to put in the extra help. There's nobody there to assist the teacher in the extra help they need with the children's behaviors. There's nothing being done with the students with these behaviors. So where am I left? Do I send my kids to school or self-defense class? I mean, I don't know what to do. And I have kids in Amherst as well, so touching on being the same as other school districts, my son just got a detention for being late to recess. My kindergartner is going to school being chased with scissors. My son is 13, my daughter is 5. This school district is nowhere near Amherst until you get the kids under control and start with that. Start with the students. No child left behind. They're all being left behind. And I'm shaking because you know, I've had this talk with you. Nothing is being done. Nothing. So now I'm here, taking time away from my kids to hopefully help my kids and all the kids in the district. So the extra 30 minutes I think should be set aside for maybe the higher ups to implement behavioral things that need to be put in classes and figure out that instead of making the kids be in class 30 more minutes to be subjected to God knows what. It's not learning. They can't learn. That's where I stand. Thank you.
I know it's typical, I don't mean typical, I don't mean to be disrespectful, and I just can't think of the word, for us to address. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't, but I know a lot of us have similar concerns. I don't think we're not doing, nothing is not true, but sometimes it feels that way.
It's not enough.
That's good. We're not doing
Not even
enough.
close to it.
Thank you. And I agree. Especially, I'm guessing it has to feel that way if you're a parent, if you're a kid, if you're a teacher. I don't know if there's something that could be said now, or if we could just say something. If there could be some sort of response, I don't know, to the board, to parents, to teachers, what would be appropriate, but what can we do? What is the next step? Where do we go from here? What can we do to make sure that we are seeing that kiddos are not being subjected to more trauma? Because I know that's, what we've talked a lot about. A lot of our kids are traumatized, and maybe that's the reason for some of these behaviors, but I'm afraid in some of those kiddos, whatever it might be, that we're harming maybe other kiddos and teachers, and I know I'm going on and on, but I think what I'm saying is probably what we're hearing and what is happening.
Agree? I'm sorry.
No, and we are, and then we're having teachers send the kids to the principals, and they're sending them back to the classrooms because this is happening in my girls' school. And they're saying awful things to other people, doing awful things. And at this point, the teachers are just saying, we can't do anything about it. They're a troubled student. it's just not okay. My kids come home every single day, and I know we've talked about it, but I want them to know we are talking about it, and we are, I hate to say fighting, but we are fighting to make it better. I have kids. I talk to a lot of teachers, but I do have kids in the school. My high schoolers, I think it has got a lot better. Our high school is on the right track. We've got a lot better there. But since we've done so much better there, we've really lacked at the elementary school. My one daughter doesn't want to go to school in first grade because her class is so bad. And it's just, my kids have never not wanted to go to school. And it's really hard to send them when they're telling me, I don't want to go because so-and-so has said this to me, or so-and-so has said this. We have to do something now. Sorry.
Yes, hi, I'm Brittany Bardable. I know a lot of you from different parts of my life. Today, yes, I am also an employee at Lorain City Schools, and I love Lorain. I'm from Lorain. But today, I'm a mom, and my heart is breaking, and I'm not going to get emotional here. I now have, my son will be 13, my middle is 10, and then I have a baby who's 4. And every single one of them has experienced some type of trauma. We don't see that in my home. I don't come from that. Everyone here a lot of you know my family from Lorain. I've never seen things that I've been seeing in the school. My children haven't. And I took my older 2 out of St. Anthony's because I believe in Lorain City Schools. My middle daughter, I don't want to seem like this is a bash on Lorain or anything. My middle daughter could not read in 3rd grade. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was, I'm also a teacher, and she doesn't want to hear what I say because I'm annoying and I don't know what I'm talking about. And I put her at Toni Morrison. And I'm not kidding. She took that test, the reading guarantee test, the first go in October, failed it. She was crying, I was crying, everything. The teacher promised me by January she'll pass. She passed 80 points over. My daughter was just accepted into gifted classes. She's doing amazing. We do offer amazing things here. But now my baby, who's 4, is coming home telling me Red Shoes, whoever Red Shoes is in her class, the little boy Red Shoes is throwing things at her teacher, at the students, knocking down, throwing chairs, things like this. And I'm just like, wait, what? Because she's only come from my mom. She didn't go anywhere. She's a COVID baby. She literally, I had her, and she's been with my family. So for her first experience, that's traumatizing, and she deserves better. And the same thing with my older 2. And I know that we can't control everything, but some of this, I just feel like what happened to, I'm sorry, what happened to focusing on the kids that want to be there, that want to learn, and not subjecting them to every type of behavior and I know there's a lot going on in Lorain, and I know that there's a lot of kids that have been exposed to things. And as a teacher, we are trying. But as a mom, I don't know what to do. Every day I'm like, did I make the wrong decision? My older daughter's thriving, but my baby is seeing terrible things. I don't want her seeing that for her first experience. And the same, like Courtney said, they're scared. I don't want my baby feeling scared. I have to feel safe. It's a scary world already. I have to feel safe dropping her off, that she's going to be well taken care of and not, have to be ducking and diving in class or things like that. I don't know. I really do believe in Lorain. I really do. 100%. I would not have taken my kids. I'm a product of Catholic school up until I went to Southview. I would not have put my kids, ripped them from the only school that they've known, and put them here if I didn't believe that we do offer amazing things. But I feel like this particular area, I don't know where we, in so many words, got soft. I came from, Ms. Ferguson knows, I spent time in his office. Like, he was my high school principal. I probably was down there every day getting a T-shirt out of the bin because my short was too short, or, just little things. So, but I don't know what happened to it's okay to, I don't want to use the word punish, but it's okay. Like, because when they turn 15, 16, 17, 18, they're throwing the book at them. You act like that and you destroy property, or you physically put your hands on someone, it's an assault. You cannot do that. So I don't know where we lost track of that. It's okay to cause bodily harm to your classmates or your teachers, or even verbally. That's just all I wanted to say.
Sure.
Few things. And first of all, I apologize for what you experienced in class, and we've had a conversation too, and we'll talk again after the meeting if you don't mind. In terms of student behaviors now, there are some things, and I'm going to try to keep this brief, but I do want to talk a little bit. For example, if you're third grade or younger, we are very limited in what we can do in terms of discipline. There are laws out there that prevent what we can and can't do. But what we tried to do, and again, I'll own it, when behaviors coming out of COVID were awful. I agree with Courtney. I think that in the secondary grades, things have gotten a whole lot better for a number of reasons, but our primary schools, kids are still struggling. You mentioned trauma's been brought up a few times. What we tried to do originally, and again, tried it, and it didn't work as well as I would have hoped, but the way I described it is we overwhelmed people with supports. We hired assistant principals for all of our schools, guidance counselors for all of our elementary schools, behavior coaches, wellness coaches, and we provided a whole lot of folks. In doing so, I think that we could have provided more structure on how best to use those people, and that's where we're kind of shifting to now. Right now, I think that in most of our elementary schools, guidance counselors are used differently based on preferences or sometimes to personalize the approach of that school. But we also have, and most folks in the audience will understand, when we have an IEP meeting, which is when we identify a child as having a disability, there's a team of people that must meet to determine what's best for that child. And typically, what we have done is had our special ed supervisors in those meetings as opposed to our principals and assistant principals. We're going to move toward having a vast majority, 95% of those meetings. The real extreme situations will have our special ed supervisors, but for most of these, we see the teacher and a building admin, which frees up our special ed supervisors, who are behavior specialists, to work with our teachers on how to address things. And to quote Michael Scott, kids aren't cars, you don't fix them. It takes time to adjust behaviors. And our goal moving forward is to use our special ed supervisors, our guidance counselors, and our assistant principals, I think, in a more effective way. When we looked at accounting for that $10 million that we've been talking about now for the entire year, we, with intention, made sure that we preserved those positions because we recognize these needs. We also need to use them in a more structured and systematic way, and again, that's something that I own. But we will get better, and again, that doesn't mean kids will come to school tomorrow or next week and we'll never see a thrown chair again or behaviors, but we should see things trending in the right direction. That's not my meeting yet. Just, yeah.
Quick, beat Julie.
So to touch on that, wouldn't it be smart to just get more parapros in the classrooms to assist with behavior issues? You said that there's laws put in place for certain disciplines. Well, I'm here to tell you, I work for an attorney, and if something happens to my child, I'm suing the whole district.
Sure.
So that's also something that should be in your heads, that if a child is physically harmed, you have that lawsuit. So I think that, again, fixing the behavioral issues within the classroom, because it's not just, it also is, another student got hit by an eraser today in class. But it's not just little things. There's big things happening that can cause serious harm to another student. And then it was said that, well, when kids are sent down to the principal's office, they're sent back. Then we need to do something with the principal, because that's not how we fix things. I'm a parent. I have 4 kids. That's absolutely not. Call the parents, say something about it. Also, when the red button was pressed, now that I'm sitting there thinking, why was I not notified? A text, an email, nothing from the school district. An emergency button was pressed. Nobody was notified, except from when my 5-year-old came home. you're just gonna, I told you before, I came nice the first couple times. I'm no longer being nice, these are my kids. Until the situation's fixed, I'm gonna have to keep being present because there's bigger fish to fry. And it's the behavior and keeping the kids safe so that they can learn and the teachers can do their jobs. Thank you.
As I sat listening, you mentioned behavior coaches. We have one behavior coach for 10 elementary buildings and one behavior coach for 3 middle schools and 1 high school. So obviously that's not enough. And I do, Mrs. Washington, Mrs. Nazario, thank you for speaking up. But as members of the board, I ask you, what are you doing? I mean, we sit here in these meetings, you listen to the parents, you hear surveys. What's happening? What's being addressed? I mean, I know you're not going to answer that question, but I do pose that to you. The law does allow for emergency removal of students, but unfortunately, our staff has been told that is not allowed, when in fact it is. Teachers don't want students removed. I have yet to have one teacher tell me, I want this kid out of my class. They don't want that. They want help. They want help dealing with the students. They want help for those students, so we ask you for that. And sometimes in meetings, we hear that our teachers' injuries are being minimized. I don't know if you're aware of the injuries. Broken wrists, broken toes, hurt in the back, punched, kicked, hit, bit by small children, not adult children, big kids, little kids. So what are the supports that we're going to have for the teachers and for the children? The students need help. And so we're asking for help for our kids. Because when they go out into the world, the first time you punch somebody, it's going to be a different story.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I would like to respond, and I know Mr. Scott would as well. Go ahead. Me first? Yeah. Okay. I know Courtney and I speak with teachers, and we bring back the information that we learn, and we, Courtney used the word fight, so I guess I'll use the word, but I think we advocate for help, for more, I love you guys, but I'm gonna say social workers. I advocate for different things like that. But we can't have no communication between staff and not know about issues, be cut off from learning about the issues and try to change them. So to say that we're not doing anything, I think is untrue. If you would ask Ross or Michael Scott or Dr. Graham or probably anybody at the table the amount of time that we take up of theirs, whether it be during the work day or work evening or yesterday at 8 o'clock while Michael Scott was trying to cook dinner on the grill and the neighborhood dogs was trying to get at his Italian sausages. Over a
oversharing there, Mrs. Wilson.
I'm just being honest.
They did try to get at it, though.
Because we work, right? Because a lot of people say, what are you doing? And they might not see what you're doing. And whether it, because sometimes they say, what is the board doing? Or what is the administrators doing? And everybody doesn't think anybody's doing anything sometimes, right? And I think we all are. And maybe we're not doing enough, like this parent said. And it feels that way. It definitely, it is that way. It is that way, and I agree. So we are doing stuff, and it isn't just me and Courtney. It's all of us, and we are advocating. And sometimes we butt heads, and we agree to meet at the table again tomorrow.
I think so.
Did you call us butt heads?
Is it okay to go up? Well,
Of course, go ahead. Yes.
sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Debbie Shebel, President of OPC 120 Paras. I don't know how to start this, but last year we got together as a group, and Jasmine was my vice president, and we tried to get PDs together for the paras. tomorrow is a PD day. I'm not aware of any PDs for us. We have not had any PDs this year. So we basically are told to just follow the teacher, which doesn't work very well because we don't do a lot of the things they do. So a PD for me would be classroom management, how to help those kids, like you said, hire more paras. Well, yeah, but we can hire more paras, but are we gonna be trained and do we know what to do? We don't get those trainings. I've asked for CPR, several different trainings. I came up with a list last year and we had meetings. So, and nothing ever came of it.
No? There wasn't a PD session that involved all the
That was
paras?
the very first week of class.
Okay.
or
I
school.
just wanted to,
Yeah,
you know,
I
you
mean,
made
I
a
don't
statement
know,
that none,
but-
and I'm not trying to be
I-
argumentative. I just wanted to.
No, I'm just saying,
For the record.
I'm trying. I've been here 17 years. Never had any PDs unless I was the one to step up and do the PD. Okay, there's plenty of things out there when we got the MacBooks. We could go to Apple, they'll teach us how to use them, things to do with them. And I brought all these things forward, but, you know, it just doesn't, like tomorrow, what are the pairs doing tomorrow? Does anybody know?
Their buildings.
Did anybody get an email about what we're doing tomorrow? So, I mean, I'm just frustrated because we're there all day. We could be learning something, even if it's just how to deal with these kids. Because, you know, the parents are in the room. I know last year there was quite a bit of violence in some of the rooms. They don't know what to do. So I'm just pointing that out, that it would be nice to be included. Also, when all the time thing came up, we weren't included. So the parents didn't get an email saying that their time is going to be changed. And so then I got all these emails, what's going to happen? Why is this happening? Who's doing this? And why didn't we get any emails? So we're left out. So I guess I just want to say that we're there too with the kids and trying to educate them. It would be nice to get some training for that. So, thank you.
I'm going to make a request of Dr. Graham that we try to get a board work session together around this topic. When you all have a chance and just because you have nothing else to do, get some data together and some facts, and maybe we get a couple of these people from the different unions together to join us, and we can make some progress on this.
You know, and added to that, as I'm sitting here listening to this, I'm wondering where the parents are. I'm wondering where the parents are.
There go one.
Are they all in this room? Okay, I mean, do teachers contact parents when somebody runs around and tries
If you
to
got a good number.
get somebody, I mean, are they contacted?
No.
Are the parents contacted?
No,
You're talking about a 5-year-old going around doing this, right?
correct. No, the principal should be doing that, or something. That's in my class, if you want me to speak on it, or I can be quiet, it's up to you guys.
I would like to understand.
There's no secrets.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Nicole Sturgill. I am a para in preschool, and I just have a concern about the time change. I know it's adding 30 minutes to regular school children from elementary up, but for preschool, for 3, 4, and 5-year-olds, it's an hour and 15 minutes more that you're putting on these little ones. And I understand that they want to involve Encore with them, but for the rest of the day, that's a long day for babies, that's all I'm saying. And if that's the truth, then they have to be provided a snack per the hours that they are in school per rules, the state of Ohio rules. And it has to be provided through the district and not the, the food grant and veggie grant that we get, because we don't get that every day either. So I just want to put that out there as well, just so you guys know.
I think at this point, let's consider it a proposed time change. Nothing's done yet.
Right, but I just want to put that out there, that that's an hour and 15 minutes for these littles.
Agreed.
I have a question.
It's not even proposed yet. It's just something
Right,
we're
well, I
looking
mean,
into.
on
Yeah.
the table,
Yep.
however we want to discuss, but
Okay.
no decisions have been made.
So you said you don't get your snack every day provided?
So the veggie grant that is provided through the school. Sometimes we don't have it.
Is it supposed to be every
It's,
day?
it's a grant, so I don't know how that works.
Okay.
But if it's for preschool, for so many hours, they have to have something to eat.
Thank you.
Hello, I try not to get up here, but
Please state your name.
Karen Rossi. Brittany's daughter is in my class, and there's a lot of violence in my classroom, and Dr. Graham is working on it with me, and Mr. Oli is working on it with me, but it did take a parent to bring this to light. And when the panic button gets pushed, I have had conversations that as a parent, I would want to know if my class needed evacuated or if the panic button needed pushed. But it's not always, that doesn't always happen. But in my opinion, I would want to know if that's happening in my child's classroom. If my child is getting hit with scissors, I would want to know. And this is happening on a daily basis. I do have 2 students that have extreme behaviors, and they need more help than I can give. And if I'm a weak teacher because of that, I will own it, because sometimes that's what.
No.
But I won't feel that way because I know I'm trying my best, and I've tried my best for 34 years, and I do speak out, and I do ask for help. And I've asked for special ed supervisors to come into my room and observe. I've asked for a behavior specialist to come into my room. She said I'm on the list, but she wasn't able to do it last week. I have asked and I have asked. I have come up with so many behavior programs, positive. The parent today said, "You really give away those prizes?" I said, "Yeah, I'm retiring. I go to garage sales. It's my last year. I'm trying to do whatever I can so there's not violence in my room and there's not FUs being yelled at." I'm trying my best, and I do appreciate it's come to light and you're helping. But I did have to go home. I don't even know if you know this. A month ago, I got hit in the back really, really, really hard, and it took my breath away. And I wrote an incident report, and I wrote a referral, and I had to leave because I was going to break down and cry in front of the students, and I didn't want to do that. So I went home, took Tylenol, then I went to the doctor, and I was prescribed muscle relaxers and a steroid. But this is happening all the time. I'm hearing it from everybody. And our little babies are getting traumatized. They're coming to school seeing their teacher hit. They're coming to school seeing kids hit, kids chased with scissors. And I try everything. I'm old school. I believe in positive, but I believe there has to be consequences. And I believe every kid should come to school to be safe. I don't think 2 kids should be able to disrupt your classroom day in and day out. So I'm sorry that it came to light like this, and I don't tell her confidential information. I don't, and she can tell you that. I do not want to get in trouble because I've been called many times into the office this year for telling the truth. I've had many of your kids. I've had your grandkids. Please, we got to do something. Kids should not come to school and see their teacher get hit or kicked on a daily basis. It's going to happen once in a while, but this is not right. And it's not right for the kiddos that need the extra help either. My heart breaks for them. They're in a classroom with 25, 26 kids. I have a part-time para, but that's it. She gets a lunch break and she gets to take a breather, and she's tremendous and she works so hard. But anyways, yes, go ahead, Barbie.
You only have a part-time?
Correct.
All the
With 25, 26 kids, and with the full inclusion, I have many kids that are on the spectrum. They are not diagnosed or they aren't being tested. So my partner has 8 or 9 on IEPs. I have 3 on IEPs, but maybe 3 more that need tested or additional help.
And Karen, I'm going to cut you off right. If you can maybe not talk, because this is also public. And
Oh,
we have to protect
yes,
the kids.
you're right.
Yeah,
I
thank
am
you.
sorry about
Sorry,
that.
thanks.
I am sorry.
You have 2 students that are typically violent every day in your classroom, and only have a para that is part-time in your room every day?
Julie, am I allowed to answer these questions? Or should I walk away? I don't want to get in any trouble. I have 55 days to retire. I have been written up before a lot, so I don't want to get in any trouble. All right. Yeah, that's true. And I take notes, and my para takes notes every day. I have a stack this big, but it's still not the right thing. And I tried a new behavior program today. Like I said, with positive, like you get 6 stars, I'll give you a star for anything. You get a prize, you can pick your prize. I don't know, I'm really, really trying, but it's rough.
What are we gonna do for her to not do that tomorrow? Because like we can't know that and let that happen one more day. Like literally, like we can turn off the cameras, we can do whatever. Like we cannot allow that to happen. Know that, and then allow that to happen one more day. What do we do for her for tomorrow?
And again, I think it's inappropriate to talk about individual students at a board meeting. So we could talk after the meeting if you like. But
Okay.
I know that she and Bill even met earlier today and they're working on a plan. Yeah.
Thank you very much, and I'm sorry. I love Lorain City Schools. I left for Million Schools to come here. I went down to Columbus when we got taken over by Hardy and did everything I could, met with Sampson. But somehow, and I know it's COVID, we've gone back. We've gone back, though, and we got to get it together because we do have wonderful programs here, wonderful students, wonderful families. We just got to get it back. Thank you.
Karen, I'd like to thank you on behalf of the board for putting 34 years in and still having the passion about what you do to show up here tonight and speak on behalf of your kids.
So my name is Paulette Major, and I am up here just to support Karen and everything else going on. Because 2 years ago in my classroom, I had 8 kids, 8 of them with behavior issues running around my classroom. Mr. Scott, you were there many times in my classroom to witness firsthand what was going on. Mr. Jamacchia was in my classroom. Dr. Graham, I asked you to step in. You never did. Right when this happened 2 years ago, I knew right away I needed help. I needed help. I needed support. There were 8 kids. There were kids that would jump up on the tables. They were running from table to table, jumping all around. Chairs were being thrown in my room. My room was destroyed so many times. I cannot begin to tell you how many times that I had to use the word tighten up with my kids. When I used that word tighten up, we left my classroom. There was no learning going on that entire year in my classroom. We spent time in the cafeteria watching the TVs because we could not go back to my classroom. Totally destroyed. These children, these 8 children, they are still around the district today. 2 of them have been placed into special needs classrooms.
And again, if we cannot talk about specific students and disabilities. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
thanks.
Now I lost my train of thought. But this was the worst. I mean, 8 children running around. Who I felt sorry for was the children that were there who wanted to learn, and we could not because we spent our time in the cafeteria. These I'm kindergarten as well. These children, the one day we had a resource officer in his uniform who was into the building, okay, who happened to be there for something else, came into my classroom to calm down a couple of the kids. The one kindergartner looked at him in his face and said, "I don't need to listen to you," okay? The police officer could not do anything to this child. Mr. Code, one of our wellness officers, I can't begin to tell you how many times Mr. Code came into the room. He was beat up quite a bit, hit, punched. You know how tall and big he is. And he just stood there taking it. You talk about the behavior specialists, and I've heard just recently, as a matter of fact, I just forwarded to you a letter, Dr. Graham, to keep those behavior specialists. They are needed. As Julie mentioned, we only have one for elementary in the district. That person was so helpful to me that year with ideas, giving me strategies, everything else. Nothing helped with these kids. I will say that in the end. You talked about our special ed supervisors. The supervisor was in. There was nothing that was done. There was nothing done that entire year in this classroom. And it went on from January all the way to the end. I, too, had to take a couple of days off a couple of times because of injuries as well. Nothing was done for that either. So this was 2 years ago, and it's been going on ever since. That's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. We have obviously hit on a very important and critical need of the district, and I promise you that we will get together as a board with administration, and we will make progress on this. I can't tell you what that will look like because we have to get together and look at some numbers and brainstorm, but it's not acceptable. We hear you, all of you. We hear you, those of you that haven't spoken, we hear you for coming out tonight. And I want to thank you for that. It is refreshing to see a full room here, you know, of passionate people, and it really lets us know that the few who spoke for the many, and we appreciate that. Anything else? I'd like the board to consider approval of the February 24th regular meeting minutes. The board does reserve the right to not read those. Discussion? Roll call? Oh, motion, need a motion, I'm sorry.
So moved. Support.
Roll call.
Mr. Sturgill.
Yes.
Mrs. Washington.
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson.
Yes.
Dr. Ballard.
Yes.
Mrs. Nazario.
Yes.
Any old business? Report and recommendations of the treasurer.
I have items 8.01 through 8.04 for approval.
Discussion?
I have a question, 8.02, is that something that is needed, necessary, normal?
Yes.
Thank you.
I would like to compliment the many employees whose names appear weekly or bi-weekly on the approval of donations. Again, it speaks to how much people care in Lorain. Need a motion to accept?
So moved.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Nazario.
Yes.
Dr. Ballard.
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson.
Yes.
Mrs. Washington.
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill.
Yes.
Reports and recommendations of the superintendent. Personnel matters.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like the board to consider for approval item 9.01 in personnel matters.
Discussion.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Dr. Ballard.
Yes.
Mrs. Nazario.
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson.
Yes.
Mrs. Washington.
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill.
I abstained. It seems that I have a relative on there.
As he does on most board meetings. I'd like the board to consider for approval items 9.02 to 9.07, personnel matters.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Washington.
Yes.
Dr. Ballard.
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson.
Yes.
Mrs. Nazario.
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill.
Yes.
I'd like the board to consider for approval items 10.01 to 10.08, operations matters.
So moved. Support.
Discussion. Roll call, please.
Mr. Sturgill.
Yes.
Mrs. Washington.
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson.
Yes.
Dr. Ballard.
Yes.
Mrs. Nazario.
Yes.
That's all I have.
I thank you. Any new business, aside from what we have already brought up, which I think is to the front of the list? Committee reports and requests from board members.
I would like to request a committee meeting, if that would be okay, for culture, climate, safety. Mr. Ballard? That'd be us.
I would support that.
Yeah.
Anything else? Second hearing of the public.
Oh,
Oh,
I
I'm
would
sorry.
like to say, I'm sorry, Saturday. We're not gonna talk about Saturday?
Yes, good idea, go.
Yeah,
Next Saturday, okay.
No, this
last
Saturday.
Saturday.
Last Saturday.
The Arts
Oh,
Festival.
the Arts Festival,
We-
okay.
Mr. Ross, you're not gonna say anything?
It's not my meeting.
You got a PowerPoint
okay,
for us?
well, I'll start. I was here about 9 o'clock. I left about 2 and we were moving and, I mean, I wasn't moving too fast, but we were there and supporting, and it was great seeing all the kids in their own element. I think was really great. I mean, they come to life when you see them doing, you know, what they like to do, and that was amazing. The teachers were phenomenal. I had my grandson with me. I said, you can leave, you know, if you want to. So I was there, like I said, 9 to 2. And he went to the watercolor station 10 times. I'm not kidding you. The pictures are on Facebook, and he was welcomed with a smile from the teacher every time. He did this, I had to put pictures on Facebook, go to my page and look. This crazy painting, messy. They were down cleaning it up off the floor all day, and they just with smiles. It was a great time. We saw the band and the painting and the drums, and go ahead.
Dancing.
Yeah, it's just I think it was just a beautiful celebration of the arts. We have such talented teachers. We've got amazing kids, and our Arts Council's been working on this for about a year. And this is something they talked about with really good enthusiasm in their first year, and then decided, let's wait just a little bit. And so, yeah, I think it was just a beautiful celebration. And the partnership, we had 3 different professional groups that came and joined us, doing clinics, performing. The one group had our students on stage doing solos with them, with their instruments. They rehearsed for an hour, and then they went and they gave their performance. From dance from our earliest elementary up through our high school groups. It was just a really special day. So thank you to all of you for coming, and those that put it on, and all the partners along the way. Yeah, thank you to everybody.
First grade put together and they've never practiced it
No,
together.
they hadn't
And you would
rehearsed.
have never known. Every school's dance teacher had a part of the story, and they each practiced their part, and then put it on for the parents, and it came together like they had practiced it a ton of times, so they never messed up. First graders, it was amazing how these dance teachers put that time in just to seamlessly put it together. 5
Yeah.
different teachers. It was amazing. I was not gonna lie, didn't think it was gonna go smoothly, and was so impressed how smooth it came together. It was really cool.
Well, I think it speaks to the leadership that you've provided and the power of collaboration. I think that you've done an amazing job bringing all the stakeholders together for things such as this, and what you've done with the arts program really deserves much credit.
Well, I appreciate that. I am going to take 0 credit.
Okay.
We have a great, no, we just have a great group of teachers and some building leaders on our Arts Council that I think have done just really, really inspiring work to make sure our kids have their voices, they can see themselves in the work, they have a way to express themselves in a healthy way where student interest really drives what they're doing and following their passions. So, for example, at the high school next year, we're going to have 5 new instrumental music classes that we're offering because our students have requested it. Not because our adults thought it was a good idea, but because when we surveyed our students and they told us this is what they want, we can offer it now, which I think is just incredibly exciting. And we have some really exciting developments on the way here too. In a meeting or two, I'd love to have some of our high school students come and talk with you about our partnerships that we're now forming with Kent State and Cleveland Institute of the Arts. We have 2 students that are on scholarship at the Cleveland Institute of the Arts for their weekend intensive series right now, and they are far beyond any of their peers who go to Beaumont and Laurel and Hawken and Hathaway Brown. We had a student, she'll tell you here in a couple of weeks when she comes, who had her portfolio scored the highest at Akron University's portfolio day. So really some special things that are starting to happen here.
I wanted to add one other thing. I didn't mention the building administrators. There were, I don't know if they were all there, but there were many there.
Yeah, most of them.
And, you know, to see them walking around and to see the kids running up to them and giving them hugs. I would like to know how many hugs Ms. Davis received. And it was a lot of the older kids, you know, coming and giving her. I mean, you know, she had the little, not little, but, you know, middle schoolers, but the high schoolers coming.
Yep.
And so it was nice to see a lot of people show up and support.
Yep. Yeah, and thank you for your guys'
I
support
thought
over the
you
years.
know, I
Yeah,
did.
appreciate it.
I'm sorry, and I know it's sunny outside, but thank you to everybody that supported Prom de Dawn at the concession stand. We sold out of the hot dogs, so we appreciate everybody that supported.
Super. The next board meeting, regularly scheduled board meeting, March 24th, 2025 at 5 PM right here. Be there or be square. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So, do we have a second hearing of the public?
Yes.
Did we? Okay.
Waiting for a second.
A second.
Roll call, please.
I didn't hear what Mr. Ballard said.
I said
He
we
asked
have a
if we had
second
second hearing of the public.
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill.
Yeah, we did.
I'm sorry, yes, sorry.
Mrs. Nazario.
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson.
Yes.
Mrs. Washington.
No.
Dr. Ballard.